Doig-Thorne, Natasha Rose Mills, and Craig Dowsett. So please give them a big round of applause. Oh, guys, it's so lovely. It's so nice to have you here today. Welcome to Hull.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Horror Fest. And we're going to start, not too probing. So, Natasha, what was it like to lose your head in the movie?
Well, since it hasn't happened before. A bit of an experience, shall we say.
Yeah. So, Amber, you knocked out Piglet.
I did, yeah.
With
Claim
a
to fame.
Yep. What's it like to a beloved children's character?
Well, it's something that I never really thought I could put on my acting CV. Was kind of surprised when I read the script. I was like, you know what, if someone has to take out a beloved childhood character, I'm glad that it's me. And I feel like we've probably ruined a few childhoods along the way, and there's probably a lot of children that are angry at me, but I was just getting my revenge. You gotta do what you gotta do, you know?
So, are there any other beloved children's characters that you guys would like to kill?
I feel like I can't answer that without getting cancelled. I'm going to say Winnie the Pooh, because we love Craig. I feel like, yeah, I don't think there's a safe answer to that. I'll let you go.
I don't know, Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
Well, that is becoming a horror film.
Yeah. It's that voice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's freaky. So, Amber, you got killed with a knife through the mouth.
I did,
what
yeah.
What was that like?
Uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable, mate, yeah. No, it was a good death. It's not that I'm biased, but it was my favourite death in the film, just saying. Because I liked that it was like all practical effects, like there was no CGI, it was like a lot of camera trickery, and I think they put in a little bit of fake blood, but we had real, but otherwise all the other ones were a lot of like prosthetics and bits and bobs moving around, and this one wasn't. And I think when you're watching a horror film, you can always tell the difference between like real practical effects and special effects. And to me, I'm like, the more practical, the better. It just makes you more like invested in the film. So I was really grateful that that was my death. What a weird thing to say. You know?
Yeah.
Craig, what was it like for you playing Winnie the Pooh?
It was insane. I mean, trying to make that character scary is a challenging task in the first place, because you know it's Winnie the Pooh. He's not scary. He's lovable. So trying to make him into a serious killer, it was challenging. But you know, I took motivation from like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees, silent, powerful killer types, and just tried to just blend it in and add a bit of my own.
Yeah.
So to do that, you know, as a first time in that sort of character. It's never been done before. It was challenging, but I'm hoping I pulled it off.
Smashed it, mate.
That's up to you guys to decide.
No, it is good. There was a lot of outtakes at the end of the movie.
Do you remember when we fell over?
Of me being silly.
Oh my god.
Oh, all of you fell over. It was like dominoes.
I'm so clumsy.
Yeah, was it a fun place to work? It looked fun. There was, you know, you guys dancing, falling over.
Oh my god, Craig flossing.
It was, you know, when it gets to 5 in the morning, you've been on a night shoot and your brain starts going a little bit cuckoo.
Go a bit deluded.
So yeah, I started doing some funny dances to try and keep myself like awake and like switched on, and yeah, we had some fun, didn't we?
It's always good fun. I always say, like, I've worked on films of different genres, but I keep coming back to horror. It's just so much fun on the sets of horror film. I don't know if it is because of all like the stunts or like the combat-y bits or the practical effects. I don't know what it is. It's just next level fun and enjoyable on the set. It's like a different level. It's great.
You know, you're the first person I ever shown this place to.
And why am I so special?
Because soon we'll be Christopher and Mary Robin. You should be close now.
We're not going to find them.
We will. Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, we were friends for many years, and they're out there.
Christopher, we need to leave. Now.
I really need to find out what's happened there, okay?
This place is kind of cool. Did you say it has a pool?
We need to go. There's... Laura's dead. There's someone else outside. What was that?
We used to friends, why are you doing this, please? I would have never left, I swear, I swear.
No, I was going to say, I think exactly like what Amber said as well. Like being on indie productions as well, and this one like felt very different for me. We felt like, well, I felt we were part of a community.
Yeah, like a little family.
Like, yeah.
It does look like when you
Dysfunctional
watch the
family.
outtakes.
Yeah.
And seeing you guys together as well, we did some stuff last year.
Yeah.
So of course again this year. Not a lot of people know this, but I've actually played a serial killer in an indie production. For me, the scariest bit was working with lovely folk, but having to kill them off. And I had to strangle a lady that would go on to become an MP in Hull. So
Oh, wow.
a lot of people would like to do that now. She's not an MP anymore, thankfully, but she was quite an important politician, and I had to strangle her. And the first shot we did, the first take, I threw a chain around her neck, pulled it tight, and she screamed, and I panicked and let go. And of course she was acting. And she said to me, "Don't worry, I am safe, I'm okay." So what was it like for you working with these guys and thinking, you've got to, you know, lovely to meet you, but you've got to kill them essentially?
Yeah, no, we did rehearse a lot, especially with some of the physical scenes. I'm like, let me know if I'm grabbing you too hard or pulling your hair too hard. We sort of went over it, and you know, I gave a few hints to say, right, I'll pull your hair like this, but I'll slacken it, and if you just hold my arms, so you've got that bit of slack and thing, so I'm not actually yanking it. So we choreographed it and practiced it, because the last thing you want is injuries on set, but you want to make it look as realistic as possible as well.
Yeah, I mean, we had a rubber chain. So there was no way I could have hurt her. But still, I felt really guilty because she's a mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great show.
And then become an MP. Did she put your council tax up after that?
Well, she said to me, she said, if I do get voted in, you're not allowed to share that picture on social media. I said, if you do get voted in, I'm sharing it. So the film was shot with a budget of 100,000, but went on to make 7.7 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was that like?
Good for them.
I was going to say, how honest do you want us to be?
Yeah. Good for them. They got a nice new car and some holidays. Yeah.
I think someone got a Rolls Royce.
Yeah. Yeah. Next.
Anyone live streaming? No. Okay.
We're all friends. We're all. So we're surprised how big it became.
I thought it was going to be straight to DVD, bargain bucket, and
That's what it was shot, intended for when it was shot, to be streaming straight to physical.
When the movie was being made and news released, and there was talking about the rights getting dropped for the character, and that this movie was going to get made, and it was going to be a horror movie. I remember social media just blew up.
Went mental.
Oh, it did,
people
didn't
were
it?
going crazy about it, and then the anticipation. And when it came out, I remember as soon as I got it. And I took it and I watched it. One of the things that really stood out for me, which is always a surprise with low budget stuff, was how well it was shot, but the lighting. Some of the lighting in some of those scenes where the lights are coming through the trees.
Yeah.
Adds to that extra.
Vince is very, very talented.
Really,
the way he can make the lighting work as a cinematographer, he's next level.
There was a wonderful scene where the car pulls up at kind of like a garage. And the camera kind of moves around the car, and the light is just coming through the trees. And it was just amazing to get that sunlight in that position. To film it like that, it just adds that extra element. One of the aspects of horror movies is always the darkness. It's not the stuff you can see on screen, but it's always the bits at the side of the screen where you can't see. Stuff like that filming, did you actually shoot in the darkness, or was it shot with filters? And when you were shooting in the darkness, was you always off adding, off camera, was you out the way so we couldn't see you getting ready to jump on?
We shot a lot of it at night. We've done a lot of night shoots in that short space of time, so it wasn't really filtered. It was pitch black in that forest.
We were shooting night for night. So I know same with the filters, like sometimes you can shoot day for night and then just use like blue filters, but no, I'm pretty sure most of ours were night shoots.
Yeah. But no, I mean, if you're not in the scene, you're off in the background, you're not sort of like lurking just out of shot.
You say that, I was tied up for 9 hours one day.
Yeah.
Wasn't really you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, you're in the background, and I was like, say no more, I'm dedicated to the craft. And then after a while, I'm thinking, the camera's facing that way, and I'm here.
Yes.
Tied up at night time, in April in England in a crop top and jeans. This is interesting. But you know, it's part of the indie horror film industry, and we allow it.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
So, moving away a little bit from that, Amber, you appeared in Alien Invasion, and Craig, you appeared in the Area 51 incident. Do you guys believe in UFOs?
I'll let you go first.
I'm not sure. Well, it's possible that there are other space objects out there, but I do believe there is life out there somewhere because the galaxy is so vast and there's so many galaxies and there's so many planets. There's just got to be somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, there's just got to be. But that's a whole area to delve into, isn't it?
That's a whole
I was just showing you some astrophotography photos a little while ago, wasn't I?
Yeah.
And all the stars and the galaxies, and there's so many
Well, I don't know
planets.
if you know this, but in 1801 a UFO was spotted over Hull. And during my research, I uncovered it, posted it in the media, it went viral. It was talked about all over the world.
Damn,
So
good
Hull
for
has a
you.
long history of UFO sightings
Cool.
and stuff like that.
Cool.
So what you're saying is stick around tonight and we might see one.
Yeah, well,
I'll get a laser
yeah.
train.
If you want to see the other side of Hull, stick around on a Saturday.
They're going to abduct Winnie the Pooh
But yeah,
and
no,
probe him.
Yeah, City Centre on a Saturday night is definitely like a horror story. So Natasha and Amber, you both appeared in the Easter Bunny Massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Return of Krampus.
Yeah.
We've done,
Yeah.
I've lost count of how many films we've done together now.
Yeah.
We're like 3.
Yeah,
or 4.
3.
3.
3?
3?
I think so.
4? Someone check IMDb. 3.
Yeah, we
I
need to check
think.
IMDb.
Yeah. But sorry.
Is that
Carry
right?
on.
What's it like working together?
Yeah, I think it's always nice when you work with the
Yeah.
same person again and again. Like we've also done 3 films together now.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
it's really really lovely, and I think like we've been really lucky anyway that pretty much 99% of the people that you work with are genuinely lovely people. But when you get to work with the same person again and again, you have that chemistry. It's there from day one, so you don't have to work on like building the rapport and building the relationship. And I think especially because we always end up playing like best friends, it's just nice. Because it's like easier, it feels less like acting, which I think is why there's such a family feel on set a lot of the time, because it is a lot of the same people working together. Like everyone says the indie horror circuit is a very, very small circle, and you work with the same people again and again and again. Honestly, I love it. I think it's really nice, really nice.
Are there any plans in the future for you guys to do anything together? Or?
Yes, yes. Me and Amber are going to be in a production that I am shooting in December. The first block's going out in December, and then spring next year will be Amber's scenes. Yeah, so that's going to be called.
Tell us a little bit?
Yeah, that's called Windigo First Blood.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say too much, but it is a Bigfoot horror film.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah.
Hull also has a history of werewolf sightings. It's not quite Bigfoot. In 2015, I was working for the local paper. I was employed to go in search of something called the Beast of Bouncing Drain, which was a werewolf. And we went looking for it in the middle of the night. We didn't find it. But that story went viral as well, and it was great fun because we had the Wells media come to Hull to look for it. And it was so funny.
What other things have you like been looking for? I'm intrigued now. Uncover all the mysteries.
In
for
my
me.
job as a paranormal investigator, ghosts is my main thing, but I've written books about sea monsters and sea serpents.
Oh, we
big
need to
black
have a
cats.
conversation. So many
Yeah,
questions. for you.
ghosts, UFOs, aliens. Oh yeah, I've done the whole.
I'm going to flip this Q&A on
Yeah.
you next. I'm like,
Very good.
all the
Yeah.
questions.
Mike.
The media, when we said people were seeing werewolves, the media got crazy and they made it like have a horror movie. They said Mike goes out on a night with torches and pitchfork.
Oh my God.
And to be honest, it was like students making a film. Like it was really. But yeah, it was quite exciting, quite interesting, and we got all the media to come to Hull because they were taking the bits. They were taking the mickey, and I invited all the media to Hull, and we went out one night and they absolutely cracked themselves. There was bushes moving, there was green eyes, and they never knew what it was.
Nice.
But it was really funny. I was tasked with going on a werewolf run and taking a bit of stake with me on a bit of string. For a guy, a book called The Frighteners. And I sent a picture to my mates of me pulling this bit of dead meat down the drain in the middle of the night. All my mates are at nightclub and they're out having a great time. I'm out pulling this bit of dead meat. And my mates commented back, and I was expecting them to set a mick. And they were all saying, go careful. You know, so people do believe in this sort of stuff, and especially like Bigfoot law in the UK is huge.
Yeah.
In the last few years, there's been a resurgence of Bigfoot sightings up north, around Scotland area and stuff like
There you
that.
go, perfect timing for the
So,
I know,
so people do believe. So there is already kind of
Yeah.
a media. So I'm guessing it's not going to be like Harry and the Andersons. I'm guessing it's
No, it's going to be savage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely
Do you have like a
savage.
budget for blood?
Yeah.
Blood? Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be limbs torn apart and all sorts. Yeah, it's going to be.
Great stuff.
Oh, do I die? I've not even asked you.
We can't tell people that.
Great. So I'm guessing they'll be shooting at night and on locations because we've got some wonderful forests and stuff around the UK.
Yeah,
Some really nice places to film. And,
yeah, got the location locked in, cast and crew.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's good.
So I think that leads to my next question then. We'll go down the line. What's on the horizon then? And then obviously you've got this coming up. You've got anything else?
Yeah, obviously my directional debut. We've also got Realm, haven't we, that me and you starred in. They're still doing the final edit on that. I don't think that's going to be out until probably spring next year, the way it's going, which is like a multi-planetary adventures sort of saga. I play an evil emperor called Kravos. You play a...
Can't remember the name of my character. It was a few months ago. It's been a busy few months.
Yeah, like the scientist type.
Yeah. Professor something.
Yeah. So yeah, we've got that coming out at some point, and then that's...
Is that like a sci-fi?
Yeah, it's full costume for me.
Yeah.
And then just the Comic-Con tour that I'm doing so far. It's been 2 years now. God. Yeah, I've been all over the place. I'm exhausted, but yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, but that's it for me. I can't take on any more at the moment. I'm too busy. No, I pulled out.
Oh.
Last night.
Spill the tea. Tell me later.
So what have you got coming up?
Hopefully at some point sleep would be nice.
Yes.
But, so I think the thing that I'm most excited for, any Nightmare on Elm Street fans in here?
Oh yeah.
I really.
Yay! So, there's a kind of spin-off movie, which is in pre-production called Nightmares, and it's based on the true story that A Nightmare on Elm Street is based off.
Yes.
So, Vietnamese refugees fleeing to California, PTSD to a shocking level to the point where they're dying in their sleep from their nightmares, which is what actually happened, and there's like real documented like cases of this, which is crazy. Blew my mind when I started researching it. There's a film that came out last year called Control, directed by Gene Fillets, which had Kevin Spacey in it, and this is Gene's next film. So I'm playing the second lead. It's a journalistic thriller, but they're saying it's not horror. My God, it's gory. I read the most recent draft of the script, and even I was like, oh my, this is like terrifying levels of gore here. So I'm really excited for that. I think it's going to be quite a big one. So, horror fans, obviously everyone here is keep your eyes out for that. Otherwise, I'm working on a few films myself. One called Sentience, which is like a sci-fi. My background, aside from acting, did a degree in theoretical physics at uni, specialising in like cosmology, a few other bits and bobs. So I'm trying to tie that into the projects that I'm working on now, just because I'm not using my degree, and my parents are on my back sometimes, so I thought I'll consult on a few things. So Sentience, which is a sci-fi, and then going into production next month on a short film called Ring of Fire. Basically like The Drinking Game, but it's a horror, which I think will be a fun one. So I'm looking forward to that.
So for me, I've got into producing. So I've launched my film company, Blue Glass Films, and we have our first feature out, which is called Dead Name. It's a noir thriller about an ex-hit woman that's sent on a mission to kill her brother, but nothing is what it seems. So it's to do with gender identity, and it's those feelings of fear that you get transitioning, and you've got the crime family, but it isn't really what you think it is. So it's basically hinting David Lynch, like influenced by David Lynch. And we're working on another project. We've got Love and a Vengeance, and we have another project which is in pre-production. So I'm discussing deals at the moment with that. It's
Brilliant.
a mystery thriller.
So plenty going on for you guys. It's amazing. So a long way to continue. Does anyone in the audience have any questions?
What's your best horror film thought out?
That we've been in or watched?
What you would like to watch?
It's in favourite film that we've watched.
Yeah. What was the most scariest one for you?
Oh, have you seen The Japanese Grudge?
Yeah.
I forgot that, yeah.
Bloody hell. Oh, I watched that when I was too young, gave me nightmares. Even now, whenever I see someone with that type of hair, or like that skin tone, which is me, because I'm pale as fuck, pardon my language, terrifies me. I saw the American one, not scary, but the Japanese one scarred me.
And I'll
Yeah,
say
terrifying.
The Ring, because it just made me think of the Japanese version of The Ring.
I tell you what, Japanese people know how to make horror films. Jesus Christ, they do.
Funnily enough, my daughter sent me a picture from York this morning saying I've had my hair cut.
I'm from York.
And she looks like the girl. So I sent her a picture, I sent a gif of the crawling out the well and coming towards the screen.
You're just meant to compliment it. Don't do
I said,
that.
lovely.
It looks lovely, but here's what you look like.
but then said, oh, she's very dark, so she would love that.
Oh, okay, great.
She would like, that's what I'm aiming for.
One that terrified me, because I watched it when I was too young, was Aliens. And now I'm fortunate enough to be friends with the guy who played the alien warrior called Carl Toop. And when I met him for the first time, I said, "You're the one that scared the crap out of me when I was a kid." So he's laughing, but he's a lovely bloke, and I'm good friends with him now. But yeah, that terrified me because I watched it way too young.
Any more questions, guys?
Well, for me, for each of you, out of all of the horror characters, monsters, either that have been on screen or haven't, which one would you absolutely love to play?
Winnie the Pooh now. I'm not taking that from you.
You can have the mask if you want.
I want to say, is it the Laurie Strode? Is it in Halloween?
Yeah.
That's her name? Yeah. I think that would be cool if they did a reboot, but no one can compare it to her, so maybe I'll stick with Winnie. No, female Winnie.
I don't know. I mean, I was only thinking of Harlequin. Margot Robbie, but that's not quite. Yeah.
Maybe a horror.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Set in the asylum,
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that'd be fun.
I would have loved to have played Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. Absolutely. If they ever did anything of that ever again, I want to be. I want to be there. I mean, obviously one of the greatest of all time is Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger, but no one can touch that character in my mind. No one could hold a torch to how he played that. So it's not even worth trying to recast that ever. So you leave that there with him. But yeah, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, something like that would be epic.
The way those movies go, there's probably still time for you to do that. I mean, there seems to be constantly. I heard the other day there was a new Halloween possibly on the way. So
Yeah, isn't there a series? There's going to be a series or something of something that they're doing on Netflix. Yeah.
So yeah. Guys, it's been lovely seeing you all. One final question from me, and I asked this last time. We'll be friends forever, won't we? How many times have people asked you that?
Today, that's the first time.
That's the first time today, yeah.
That was the tagline, wasn't it? If you guys could make your own independent horror movie with any cartoon character, forget about rights don't exist in this meeting, who would you want to be lined up against?
Against or?
Yeah, against. Who would you want to fight? Who would you want to battle?
Who would we want to fight? Oh. Well, I feel like I've got to give a different answer to last time. I think last time you said, like, what would we like to turn into a horror?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Scooby-Doo, that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Like, I can imagine, like, Scooby-Doo horror, that would be awesome.
I think Care Bears, you know, like, we're all sweet.
That's giving, like, Five Nights at Freddy's. That would be cool. Or, like, Teletubbies.
Yeah. Sweet and innocent. But then,
But then the Hoover would... Oh, no, I don't think that's a winner. I don't know who I'd want to fight. I still think, like, a horror version of Snow White would be great, just because... Like so many of the other characters coming from Brothers Grimm, like such dark origins. Anyway, it's not that far from horror. Yeah. I'm surprised no one's done that yet. Someone should.
So we look forward to seeing Bambi, the horror movie.
Bambi the Reckoning, yeah.
So many in the Pooniverse now.
There is so many, You've got Peter Pan.
Really has thrown the doors open.
It has.
Through other ideas.
It has. I mean, people have said to me, you know, your film is like the godfather of fairy tale horror because it was the first. And now so many people are following suit and it's expanded so vastly into all these other characters because constantly public domain is always going, there's always going to be things coming and opening up. So now this is like paved the way. And it's good for indie production because it can show you what you can do with a low budget. What if you've got that creative spark and those ideas and you just go for it and get it out there, it just shows what can be achieved. So it's good for indie, isn't it? Good for indie films.
I agree. I think it's the same as like what the Terrifier franchise has done.
Oh yeah.
Just like you said, it's showing people what can be done on such a shoestring budget. Like the audience is there. The people want to see it. So I'm hoping it will bring more money into the indie circuit, especially for horror films, and hopefully give more people the chance to have like a cinematic release as well, because that's notoriously difficult for people to do when the budget's so low.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But luckily, this film proves that the interest is there, and you can get amazing returns on it.
So, staying on the Terrifier then, Art the Clown,
I love David.
or you're Winnie the Pooh, mono, who do you think?
I've said this to them. I've met them a few times.
Yeah.
I've been on Comic Cons with them all around the world, and I've said to them, we should do one against each other, like a Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, Art versus Pooh.
Yeah.
Or Art did a Pooh. You can go with this one. Go.
Works on the name too much.
That got dark really quick.
Yeah.
Who do you
Cool.
think would
Yeah.
win?
Oh, Art versus Pooh. I don't
I mean,
know.
is Pooh like
I mean,
immortal?
Pooh's kind of immortal and he's more powerful, but Art's quite sadistic. He's quite
He's a bit
cunning.
messy, isn't he?
He's quite a
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his bin bag though, what's he going to do? So without his bin bag, he's... But
His
yeah,
horn.
I mean, it's been so lovely to see you guys.
Nice to
so
be
lovely
here.
To have you down here.
Thank you.
And, to have you talking. It's so nice to have you at the horror festival. Don't forget, guys, you will be downstairs for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, if anyone's got any questions or wants to just come and have a chat, come and see us at our tables, and we've got some cool stuff that we can sign for you. And that's it, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's one for Craig. How hard is it to do like a silent character? I've done a few.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, acting in a mask is obviously totally different because you've got to express your emotions through body language because you can't see what's going on in your face. So being the silent type was probably easier because being in that costume, it's so hard because the mask it's like having your head in a vice and it was hot and you can't breathe and see much. So being the silent type in that was probably better than having like a whole script to be trying to talk on that. So that was all right in that respect. But yeah, to try and make him scary and be that silent, ominous killer, it's just, big, slow movements and just trying to act menacing, really.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of like little indie movies, and I've kind of like took inspiration from like Jason Bourne.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like that,
Exactly. Yeah. You look at the best in the business, you go back to them, and you think, well, let's take a bit out of them, try and mould it into one, and put a bit of a funny walk on him, like a little waddle, because he's supposed to be pot belly and. So yeah, it was challenging because it's never been done before. So for me to be taking that character on and be like, oh, okay, how can we make this as terrifying as possible with that mask on with the sadistic smile?
And the marigold gloves.
And the marigold gloves, yeah.
Seeing that for the first time.
Yeah. So it was difficult.
Brilliant. I've got any more questions? No? Well, ladies and gentlemen, could you please give these guys a big round of applause?
Thank you very much.